Um, I'm not sure if this is going to upload or not. It keeps saying there's an error and then it uploads it anyways. But I'm going to give this one a try. One thing that I've been looking at now that I am on a welfare system, um, I see the causes that got me here, and most of the causes that got me here is relying on systems we think are functioning. Um, and we are the creator of our own experiences. So it is a matter of taking full responsibility for what it is you experience. So it's like, why would I want to experience the hell that I experienced? And I personally believe, because since I was a kid, it's like I wanted to know the answers of everything, and it's like, how best to understand the answers of everything if you don't dive into the problem. So it was more like my life experience was about experience everything that could possibly be wrong about the world, see what causes all of it, and then find out the solutions to all of those causes. So now that I've experienced every single thing that could possibly be wrong in our world, which involved the education systems, our justice systems, our government systems, our media, marketing, economic systems. Every single system is something that I had to play a role in. And by believing in these systems and thinking they function correctly, I relied on them. So there was my first problem. So then I'm thinking, okay, now that I know the solutions, how do I move forward? How do I get off of this system, get employed, introducing the solutions to problems? Because as it turns out, people don't want to hear the solutions. You may think and you may complain and you may say, oh, I want all of the solutions, but frankly, no, you don't. You're not ready for the truth yet. You're hanging on to a lie that you don't want to let go of. And basically the lie that you don't want to let go on is where your responsibility and your accountability is in how everything is functioning. It's like a table. You know, we are the legs that hold that table up. So if that table is dysfunctional and you want to hang on to that table so it stands up, then you are supporting everything that's wrong if that table is actually causing more problems. So it does boil down to what you choose to believe in. If you can't let go of that and say, oh, I could be a little wrong in what I believe in, then you are holding up everything that is wrong. You have to let go. You have to say, oh, I'm wrong. And so in moving forward, I thought, how many different areas can I possibly get into that I might be able to have some kind of influence that changes us in a completely different direction? And one thing that did come to mind is take a sociology course, go to university and get back to school, not with the intention that they're going to teach me anything, because clearly everything that's wrong with us is found within our sociology. Um, but I rejected that because I could see just by talking to these professors that I would fail because I simply disagree with them. They would say, you know, as long as you participate in your critical thinking and you put in some, you know, good arguments, you will pass. And yet when I discuss it with them, basically they throw me out of the classroom. So it's like, okay, why would I even enter into that classroom when the intention is to fail me just because of the opinion I have? It's very similar to I wanted to improve my communication skills because clearly my message is not being heard. So I have no problem talking. But I thought, I'm going to improve how I communicate and join Toastmasters because that's where you improve your communication skills. I was able to win competitions within joining that group within a few weeks. I had beat out other speakers that have been competing for over 20 years. I came ahead of them, so I don't think that my communication skills are all that wrong, it's the message. And one thing that can be proven with that is the fact that when you go to Toastmasters, it's not about whether you're telling the truth about anything. It's a matter that you know how to get up and present yourself and speak. If you speak well, that is the only point that they're concerned with. They do not care about the message. That is sort of the main prime objective, is don't listen to the message that's being said. Look at how somebody puts forth their point of view. And yeah, my message was, oh, that was a really good speech, but your message is really screwed up. and the person that was really targeting on my message was screwed up was a motivational speaker who was trying to say, oh, the economy is doing really good. You know, his business was increasing. And what was his message? Why was his business increasing? And he says, oh, now I can get people to pay for the course 3 times instead of 1. Because he's now convinced everybody that, oh, it's not working for you because you need to hear it over and over and over again. And if you hear something over and over and over again, eventually it will take. So that increased his sales. And yet it's not working for anybody, no matter how many times they take it. Because it's like, you can't make a lie turn into a truth, no matter how hard you try. So here's this insane guy that just didn't want to face his own insanity and thinks that he's going to profit off of just selling his insanity a little better. Typical good salesperson. They can sell ice to an Eskimo. But I thought, okay, listening and discussing to this Rand theory and seeing that, okay, people that are believing in this theory are looking a little insane, and they are moving forward in their decision making based on a theory they happen to believe in, and so it's like they're not quite realizing that they are the causes of all problems. Everything that they complain about, they're busy pointing the finger at everybody else except for themselves. There's zero sense of self-responsibility and accountability believing in that Rand theory. So I've moved on to, because I watched that debate that was going on with the skeptic and fringe, and it was like, okay, all I had to do was see the first video and see, okay, these two are nuts. They're just bullies trying to flex their muscle. They all look totally angry. My theory is you cannot access any truthful information when you are in an angry, negative state. So both sides were totally angry, totally vengeful, totally out to get the other guy. There was no peaceful conversation in that debate, which means both sides are going to be wrong and they won't even notice it, just because you could see their state of mind, and the words that were coming out of their mouth through that state of mind was like, okay, this is going to be a bullshit argument. So I passed on to the end of the conversation to hear the conclusion, and it's like, oh, they don't even realize they both lost. So it was pretty funny. And then somebody else was saying, oh, you missed, if you don't even bother giving it a try, then listening to the whole thing, then how can you base a decision on it? It's like, all you have to do is know what truth is, and then look at the conclusion and see, he didn't even prove anything that was actually true. All he did was bully and make the other guy look real bad. And as long as you can make the other guy look real bad, somehow you'll believe this guy was right about something. Yet he just looks like he was nothing more than a bully. He bullied his way into believing and convincing everybody he was right about something. And where is his logic coming from? Sociology. So I went to this one video, just gonna see, okay, what are some of these students of sociology saying? So I'm going to put a link below to this one guy who's talking about people that live in poverty don't seem to care about their environment. That people that are living in poverty love living in dumps, while people that are wealth seem to care about their property. And I was like, this guy's really lost his mind. And he does get into garbage and just sitting on a porch smoking and not caring about your environment, and it's like, okay, I'm not going to get into that too much because the comprehension there just isn't there for you to understand the truth about that one. But what I will focus on is letting the bathtub overflow and not bothering to phone the landlord to fix the plumbing. It's like, okay, here's a little news flash for you. People that live in poverty can't exactly afford to pay for plumbers. They're a little expensive, and you don't have money to fix the things that go wrong. And then another little insight, when you phone a landlord, they don't tend to come and fix shit, especially when it's in a poverty area. So most landlords that are, dealing with these low income areas, they don't give a shit about the property. They want it to be run down as much as possible. But we do have a term for them called slum landlords. They do everything possible to make sure that the property is destroyed. Why? So they can tear it down and raise big buildings and sell each apartment for $1 million. We've kind of seen that one play out before, but somehow these people that believe in sociology and their insane thinking of not being responsible and accountable, they all have these opinions that make no logic sense whatsoever. Basically, this guy is more responsible for creating all of the problems that are wrong. He's holding up the tables of everything that's wrong, but going to point the finger at the poor guy. The poor guy that doesn't have the money to be able to fix his house, where the guy that's rich has all of the money in the world to fix his house. And the only reason the guy that has all of the money is because he's been taking advantage of people that are typically care about society, care about living right. I find there are more morals within people of poverty than there are with people that have great wealth. And why I can say that is because we attract our experiences. There is a lot more to it, but basically people that do live in poverty have more of a people pleaser mentality. They are easily able to be taken advantage of. They are typically victims of crime, and a lot of organizations, a lot of doctors, a lot of out there, saying that they help. But when you are the victim of a crime and go into some form of psychology going on, basically all they teach you is, can't change City Hall, you have to just, deal, cope and deal, and it's like, let's cope and deal with everything that's wrong and never look at making any changes within our system. That kind of drives people, when you see that level of no interest of fixing any problems, when you see that level of crime going on from the upper class that doesn't give a shit about the lower class, it causes severe pain when you see the lack of humanity going on. It does tend to, that level of pain, you take painkillers. Most of the wealthy, anytime they are in pain, they go for the painkillers, and somehow it's okay because they're prescription drugs, and then they end up dying off their prescription drugs. But anybody that's living in poverty, they tend to self-medicate with alcohol or drug use. They're nothing more than painkillers. So if you want to get people off of drugs, then you got to sort of help them ease the pain that they deal with. And the only way you're going to ease that pain is when the upper class actually has some form of humanity for those within the lower class who are the people pleasers, who are willing to help and work within society, but we're always being taken advantage of. For instance, I'm on a welfare system, which every organization that's claiming to want to do the right thing never seem to want to do the right thing. They create laws that they never follow. So it's like, oh, I'm dealing with insanity. And each one thinks the left hand is actually doing a job, when it's like, well, you just pawned me off to somebody else who's just pawned me off to somebody else who's just pawned me off to somebody else, and everybody thinks the job is getting done. And yet when you're on the bottom and you see that not one of them are actually doing a job, nobody's actually enforcing any laws. Not if we're all the victim of crime. How come these criminals not in jail? Are these politicians in jail? Are these bankers in jail? As we see all of the London riots and people getting a little hungry and they're saying, hey, we'd rather work, we don't want free stuff. But if you're going to call them thugs and you call somebody stupid long enough, then you're going to create that. So, you want to call them a thug? Well, they'll say, this is what a thug looks like. How does it feel? Maybe stop calling them thugs and start listening to solutions. Peace out.